Hello everyone, today I'll talk about the introduction of classical and Keynesian school. And it's my content. First, I'll talk about the broad category of classical school. The origin of classical school I present on the slide. The proposition of classical school. First, emphasize the price function is an invisible hand in the market. In the long run, wages and price can be adjusted freely, and eventually equilibrium will be reached. Therefore, the government should respect the free market mechanism and let the market operate on its own. Second, currency neutrality. Currency has the function of a medium of exchange. Therefore, changes in the money supply will only bring about changes in the nominal variable in the same proportion, and it will not cause changes in the real variables. Third, the classical dichotomy. The nominal variables are determined by the nominal market, while the real variables are determined by the real market. And I'll talk about other category of classical school. Neoclassical economics. It inherent the standpoint of classical economics. The common proposition is to support free market economy, individual rational choice, oppose excessive government intervention, and oppose Keynesian economics. Neoclassical economics form the main component of microeconomics. So, what is rational expectation? For example, in the case of less information, consumers can only use the limited information they obtain to anticipate the market. This is the rational expectation, and this expectation will affect their economic behavior and then the economic result, which is the core idea of the neoclassical school. Another category of classical school, neoclassical economics, is formed in 1970s. It is neoclassical economics successor because the emergence of stagflation in 1970s made doubts on the neo-Keynesian school. It brought the classical economics back to the stage, and the new classical economics appeared. It emphasized that macroeconomics must be based on the foundation of microeconomics, advocates rational expectation, and the main theoretical competition is the new Keynesian school. It mentioned that the market economy can automatically solve the problem of unemployment and recession, while the government stabilization policy has no effect. The scholar that support the new classical school is called the freshwater school, and the scholar who support the Keynesian school will become the saltwater school, and the two school is the mainstream of economics. Second, I'll introduce the broad category of Keynesian school. The origin of Keynesian school I present on the slide. The proposition of Keynesian school. First, the panic in the world economy is the 1930s was insufficient effective demand from society. The government should directly participate in economic activities and use public expenditure to make up for the lack of private expenditure. Tax cuts are used to stimulate the increase in demand from the general public, thereby increasing production and solving the unemployment problem. Second, emphasize the inherent instability of the market economy. Third, depressed and high unemployment. In order to overcome the problem of insufficient private consumption and investment, government spending must be increased to drive employment. And I'll talk about other category of Keynesian school. Neo-Keynesian economics is formed between 1930s to 1970s. It is a macroeconomic thought developed from Keynesian economics. It was introduced the Keynesian economics, enriched its contents, and then formed the new Keynesian school. It thinks that intervention is a basic means of regulating the economy. Neo-Keynesian school advocate that fiscal and monetary policy should be paid equal attention to stimulate the economy more effectively. Another category of Keynesian school, New Keynesian economics, is formed in the 1970s and 1980s, and it is still developed. It is formed because in the 1970s, the economy of the United States and some European countries experienced a phenomenon of stagflation, and the new Keynesian school cannot explain the phenomenon. The main feature of new Keynesian school is the analysis based on wage and price stickiness. It assumes that nominal wages and product price can be adjusted, but the adjustment speed is very slow. Third, the main distinction between two schools. Combine things I learned from school. I make a form which illustrate the difference. 4. The COVID-19 question. Question. Some governments take action such as increase in spending and increase in money supply in response to COVID-19 pandemic, while another government does not. As I mentioned before, the classical school of economics believed that during the time of crisis, there should be no monetary policy or framework to affect the economy, while the view of Keynesian economists was just the opposite. They argue that the government should intervene in the economy during the time of crisis and introduce various types of policy and regulation so as to make sure that the economy do not suffer. So, thank you for listening.